I meet a couple other guys. I meet a lot of the guys that ended up getting wrapped up in the Whitmer thing, who were actually good guys. Like, didn't talk about Whitmer. So, like, fast forward, it's like 2020. The entire world is on fire. We're locked down, whatever. I organize a protest. It's like the largest anti-lockdown protest in like the continental United States. It's reopen Wisconsin. Breitbart's there. Everybody's there. Mike Pence tried to be there, and we just told him we really would rather not because this is for like citizens who are affected. I don't think you like that very much. He wanted to like speak there and whatever. We had Sheriff David Clark there. We had like Vicky McKenna and all these like kind of local conservative people. Well, Roby like insists, and this is before I know that he's an informant and all that stuff, and it's shortly before the meetings and like the stuff with Whitmer get started.
Right.
So, and I think the kind of the COVID protest was kind of the last straw for the FBI. They're like, we want this guy gone, like, because we essentially pressured the Republican legislature to take away our governor's emergency powers. Tony Evers was literally trying to make our health and human services person a dictator. He was just trying to give his gubernatorial powers to the health and human services person to dictate to us.
Insane.
Yeah. So we organize this protest. Roby comes there and he insists. He's like, no, dude, I'll take care of like kind of security. And I'm like, well, we can't really call it security because you don't have a good security license. Roby's that kind of person where he's so dumb that you never suspect him of anything because you're just like always explaining to him why he can't do something. And I'm like, dude, you don't have a security license. You can't be security.
Real quick, in retrospect, do you think that's part of his cover?
Yeah, I do. I don't think he's as dumb as he puts on now that in retrospect.
Yeah. But anyway, so you're at the protest. He's asking to be like security. Yeah.
So I'm telling him like, no, you can't do that. You can like if you just want to have some guys out in the crowd, just making sure that there's nobody that's trying to disturb people or no fight start or whatever. Because we think that Antifa, probably will try to provoke things, and other people like there was one guy that tried to provoke us with a little like COVID germ robot.
What?
He was trying to like bump this COVID germ robot that he made into people. It's like essentially like a remote control car that he put like a dome over that looked like it. So we knew that people were going to try to start stuff.
Right.
All right. So Roby comes in and he's like, oh, well, we got to know who each other is. So he brings Hawaiian shirts and he gives them out to everybody.
All right. Like
and
Tommy Bahama
again
shirts.
in retro. Yeah. So it's like a setup. It's like the Boog Boys, which I think was also an FBI kind of op. I mostly think BX. I do mostly think that the FBI is ineffective, but I do think they are nefariously persistent. And I've heard a lot of they will go after you until there's no way they can go after you anymore. So
they're like vultures.
So I still I still have that Hawaiian shirt. I kind of want to put a thing on the back that says, I got targeted by the FBI and all I got was this lousy shirt.
You should. You totally
Don't
should.
become a target.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do the protest, whatever. And from looking back, I think he's trying to wrap up a narrative for the FBI, like Boog Boys, domestic extremism, what have you. Because at that time, the Hawaiian flag, the Boog Boys, all that stuff are very, very prevalent. You know what I mean? And and then the riots start happening and whatnot, and we're all freaked out, right? And we all want to meet together to be like, how do we protect the community? We see the elections coming up. We don't I don't know if you guys remember, but the uncertainty at the before the election in 2020 was immense. We didn't know okay, if they lose and Trump wins, are they gonna allow him to get in office? Is this gonna be a civil war type of thing? What kind of civil war would it look like? We're legitimately wondering because we're looking on the TV, we're seeing DC and the White House is burning, or they're attacking the White House, and churches are burning, and we don't know. So we legitimately start meeting up. Well, the FBI takes this as the opportunity to try to insert some narrative that there was talk of kidnapping governors. I personally have I never heard anything about it. I mean, the only thing I heard was like fucking governor, like tyrant piece of shit,
Right.
excuse my language, but like that's like how we talk. Like nothing like where we're actually like entertaining a plan or anything. So there starts to be Robeson literally at this time he builds what is called the Wisconsin Patriot 3%. So Wisconsin 3% is part of the just like a national 3% group. So there's
Uh-huh.
like Nebraska 3%, Florida
Right.
3%. But he had to add Patriot to it to make it its own kind of thing because there's like 3% United Patriots, 3% Originals. There's just all sorts, the Oath Keepers, there's all sorts of brands. So he literally manufactures from whole cloth this entirely new group, starts going around the country and trying to recruit people. I make it to like whatever, like train like we meet up for like field training exercises, FTXs. So I made the ones that were in Wisconsin, and he'd bring these new people. He'd bring Barry Croft in, who I actually kind of liked. He's a very like nice guy. He's not like a violent man. He's a big talker, but like he's a family man. Like he took care of his kids. Like he was a single father. He always made sure his daughters wanted for nothing. Um, and we got really really close. And we like me and Barry would talk about like legitimate things. Like, is there any like I guess Barry wanted to make something called the Fraternal Order of Constitutionalists or something. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool, man. And he's like, oh, we could make these like little like silver medallions. It'd be really cool. Like just benign stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like the main event or FTX that I attended for that's mentioned in the court documents is the one in Cambria, Wisconsin. So this place in Cambria was it was owned by this guy named Mike, and he's a real old like hippie kind of dude. Like he used to race cars and stuff. He's really cool. But he was really close to Roby. I to this day don't know if he knew anything about anything. But we used this place to train. They had a shooting range. We had like a berm or whatever to like stop bullets and whatnot. And we built like little like shanties to like you know practice clearing like rooms and stuff. Just like this is stuff that you can literally buy online today. Like this
Right.
training is not like extreme like terrorist training. This is just like, hey, if you know there's a home invasion, you might have to clear a room. Do you know
Right.
how to do that?
Right.
Do you know how to not get killed? Just stuff like that.
Right.
And at this time, we had a lot of normies coming in as well because they're like freaked out. And Roby like started to like grab people from my protest, especially the COVID one, like just normal people, and he like started to bring them in. Well, so there's these normal people who are just freaked out by COVID, freaked out by the riots, and they're training. So there's a bunch of new people. So a lot of these people at Cambria, I don't know. And so like I kind of set up my tent to the side, because it's like an overnight thing. We're gonna practice, we're gonna train, we're gonna eat out, we're gonna maybe have a beer, and then we're gonna go to sleep, and then we're gonna do it again tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm out training, and then all of a sudden, it's like I had my tent set up, I had it all zipped up. I go into my tent during this event, and I find that there's like muddy prints, like somebody had went in my tent and gone through my things.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I go around. I'm like, hey, dude, like who was in my tent? And I don't know. Nobody knows. I kind of let it go, but I'm pretty pissed off because I'm just like I'm telling Roby, I'm like, well, what the fuck, dude? Like, why? Excuse my language, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's all
I'm
good.
sorry.
You're good.
I'm like, what the hell, man? Like why are people going through my stuff? He's like, oh, I don't know, man. Are you sure it wasn't you? You sure you didn't leave a boot print in there? Like you stepped in mud or something? I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna let it go. And there's like guys from California there, guys. Like one of the guys I actually drove to get beer. Like we did a beer run, and he was a guy with kind of like a crippled arm, which was strange that he was there and like training and stuff. But he was good at he actually was a pretty good shot and everything.
Wow.
And we started talking and stuff, and we started talking like political philosophy, and he starts like weirding me out because he's starting to like talk positively about Marx and stuff. And I'm just like, yo, like, no, like that's not it. Like that's not where it's at, brother. Like, so he brings me back or whatever. We do this. I hear nothing about Whitmer. We like shoot off some tannerite, which ends up being used by the FBI. Me and Barry hang out, whatever, and okay, we're done. Uh, I get fired from my job in between this, and then let me fast
Sheesh.
forward. Then there's this Michigan FTX. During the Cambria FTX, there was a bunch of Michigan guys that were there. This main guy, Dan Chappell, he ended up bringing like his crew, which were pretty squared away. They had like brought their own ammunition. He talked about how they like collectively source their ammunition by pooling their money together and like do like a type of dues system. I was like, dude's like way too squared away to be in the militia. Like we're all a bunch of f ups. Like this guy is like former veteran or like veteran, former military, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Says he sniped with Kyle or that one sniper, Kyle something or other.
Yeah. The guy who had the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forget his name, but yeah.
Um, yeah. So I'm like kind of weirded out after this whole thing, and so I kind of distanced myself from Roby. I guess in this time, Roby was actually like scamming a church for money and like made up a fake charity, which I all learned about after the fact. And then he like invites me to a Michigan FTX to go like train with those other guys. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. Like, yeah, I'll go because I had like been to other states with him before. Um, and like the night he was supposed to pick me up, I just got this weird feeling, man. Like the only thing I can describe it as is absolute divine intervention by God.
Mm.
There was a voice in my head that said, Tom, just go to sleep.
Mm.
Just go to sleep, dude. Like it's not worth it because he wanted to pick me up at 3 a.m., which was weird as hell.
Yeah.
And I was just like, something in me just said, Tom, go to sleep. Like, it's fine. There's tons of other FTXs. Like, just go to sleep. So I go to sleep. I wake up. I look at my phone. There's like, literally, like, not even joking, literally 100 missed messages. And it's from Roby, but it's from a guy named Brian Higgins' phone. Brian is one of the normies that ended up getting wrapped up and treated really unfairly in this entire thing.
Wow.
Yeah, he was just a normal dude, just an IT guy that was worried because his girlfriend got stuck in a BLM protest,
Mm-hmm.
and the police just told him like there's nothing we can do. She either leaves the car or she waits till they're gone. And he's like he got really upset.
Yep.
Rightfully so.
That. Yep.
And
So
so he ends up
they're trying to trap you.
Yeah. So they come back from the Michigan FTX. Brian seems a little perturbed. I'm like, hey, how did it go? How was everything? It was kind of really weird. They were just like, they didn't say a lot. And so all of a sudden, shortly after this, everybody gets arrested except for Robeson. And I'm like, what the F did you guys do?
Right.
Like, I'm like, we were just like, we're training. Like, what happened? And he's like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, he's just making up all these excuses. And like, I'm just like trying to figure out what happened. And Barry calls me shortly before his arrest, and he's like, I don't know what's happening, man. I think there were some feds or something like inserted into stuff. Well, come to find out, like these guys were training, they were doing stuff out there. There was a lot of FBI there. The FBI essentially tried to get them to buy explosives. They refused. They didn't want anything to do with it. So it ended up where the FBI literally had to like trick them into vehicles and hijack them to drive them past the governor's vacation home.
Oh yeah.
And they didn't know where they were going. Like literally, there's court documents that say like destination unknown because like the guys are like, what? Like where are we going?
Yep. Yeah. Christina walked us through that whole part of the story when she was on the show. It's insane.
Yeah.
Insane.
And so like these guys are my friends, so obviously I'm telling the story from a friend's perspective, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think these guys were bad guys. They probably said like Barry said crazy stuff, but never with any like real intention or any like means to actually like do anything. He's just we're all upset, we're all locked down, we're all like pissed.
Yeah.
And so everybody gets arrested, and Barry just kind of like tells me like, oh, I don't know, man, I don't know who it was, like I don't know what happened. And I was like, well, what happened there? And he's like, I don't know, man, you should have been there. And I was like, I'm glad I wasn't.
For real.
Like I don't know what to say. Like and then everybody gets arrested, and we kind of are trying to piece things together. Roby, I was like, dude, because at this point I'm doing like a podcast thing, like a side podcast. I kind of do it on and off now still. I try to do more like stuff on my X account and like political stuff. But So I have this little small podcast amongst the militia. Like a lot of militia guys knew about it. We called it the Freeman Report, and we just kind of, we do talk about militia stuff, talk about like fifth, sixth generational warfare, like stuff like that.
Yep.
Like, so we have an idea that like the people that didn't get arrested, I was like, we're just gonna go on a podcast and we're gonna talk about it and have the other militia, like people from different states, like watch. Well, this podcast ends up exposing Roby, and it's actually on Rumble. It's one of the first videos on the Freeman Report. It's called "The Lies of Informant Steve Robeson" or "The Lies of Steve Robeson."
Wow.
And Darren Beatty ends up picking it up. And he like shows it. He never gives us credit. Whatever. I just wanted to get the information out. I'm not, whatever. But that gets used, and then BuzzFeed starts calling me, and my friend Jeremy, who I got really close to, Jeremy Dieter, was kind of like my rock through this because I was freaking out. Like I thought that Roby was like a friend, and I'm like, now I'm suspecting everybody. I started, like it's really easy to go into that weird psychosis mode where you're like, well, everything's fake. Like everything's fake. Like I can't trust anybody. And like the only thing that really kept me grounded is faith. And I feel like I've gotten stronger in my faith in God throughout this thing. And, and the other people that kind of went through it with me that I know aren't informants.
Right.
That's the only thing I could trust. So through this, like the FBI kind of went to my fiance's work a lot, harassed her, and we ended up it put stress on the relationship. We ended up splitting up. It just kind of destroyed my life. I lost my job because of the COVID protests. Yes. They were like, you're participating in risky behavior. And so they kept suspending me until they fired me.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and so it just kind of took a nosedive from there, and I've kind of been trying to climb out of it from there. Wow. That's like, I don't want to get too much more in detail because like there's so much more I didn't cover, but you guys have a limited time span.
No, yeah, well, I'd like to have you back on at some point and talk about this because I think this is really important. And in retrospect, other than Robeson hanging out with that groom character, in retrospect, were there any other red flags leading up to all this with him?
So there was two. So one was an Antifa article put out on an Antifa website, which routinely lies, and so I didn't buy anything they said. Because I'm like, they're just Antifa are known liars. Like if they say the sky is blue, I'm gonna look out the window and check. So they put it out on this Idavox thing, like look inside the Wisconsin 3% or whatever, and it blames me for bringing a informant into the midst of the militia. And I'm like, okay, they're obviously trying to make me look bad. They're trying to smear me with the other militia guys, essentially cause infighting. I wish I would have thought about it a little bit harder.
Wow. Yeah, because we're so quick to just discredit everything the left says, but sometimes it's more than what they're doing. It's like they're not just trying to discredit you amongst your peers. They're trying to do something much more nefarious. Or
this was so early on too that like how would they have known?
Well, yeah, they probably had some intel.
Yeah, right. I'm thinking that the feds kind of let them in on some stuff or something, or they had somebody that worked for the FBI's offices.
I mean, that's how it works. I think a lot of this, I only from what I know from my research, stuff like Mockingbird, and these agencies leak out information to certain reporters and certain institutions, and they start building these narratives slowly over time that allow people then to infiltrate, places like what you were doing. I think it's pretty scary how the lengths that these people are willing to go to create their narrative, right? To like what you're saying with the friends who were driven by Whitmer's house. They weren't even in on a scheme to that degree. They were just they were totally used to help build a narrative. And I can only imagine what they're doing today. Because everyone thinks everything's better now just because Trump won. But I firmly believe there are very bad actors still within these institutions willing to take out a lot of good people. And I wonder, like if someone like Robeson even knew like a Ray Epps, right? That's just what he is, in my opinion. Yep. So man, that's a crazy story. But we'll have you back on at some point. It seems like we have other stories to talk about, including kind of zooming in and out of this one in particular as well.
I don't know. Maybe you have to get out of
Wisconsin. I just shout out one thing before we go.
Of course.
So I'm at Thomas C. Leaguer on X. If you can find me out there. Me and Eric Molitor, who was another guy that was targeted and acquitted, we do these X Spaces every other Tuesday at 9 p.m. EST, 8 p.m. Central Time. It's called the Victims of Government Weaponization Support Network. We literally are just trying to give a place for people who are in that psychosis, who have been screwed over by the government and don't know who to trust and don't know how to put their lives together, because we were in that spot, and we want to use our faith and our community to help you guys get back on your feet, because it's hard. It's hard to trust people.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad that you survived this and you're climbing your way out of that crazy place. And we'll talk again soon, man.
I appreciate it, Shane. You guys have a good one.
You too, man. Bye.
Crazy stuff out there.
That is insane. And it's
thank God for divine intervention.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't think that stuff's very rare. We've had, I think, when Christina was on last time, we talked about Gladio. I believe it was probably with her, because this is a very Gladio type situation. Those things never stopped. It's still going on today. Clearly, kind of stuff where the government's infiltrating just normal people, And he was probably going to get into it, but like when he mentioned earlier how there's a lot less militias now in Wisconsin, that's probably why, and it's probably what their plan was in part the whole time. Wow, that's crazy.